episode 327.
Incrementalism as a shop owner, and then essentialism. The problem with most shop owners is they love being a tech, and when they get frustrated with marketing and they don't want to deal with that anymore, and they get frustrated with the front counter, they don't want to deal with that anymore, they go out back and they work on a car. That's not your essential job anymore. Let it go.
Welcome, aftermarketers, to Remarkable Results Radio. Listen to learn just one thing from today's episode on your journey to remarkable results. Hello, and welcome to Automotive Aftermarket Talk Radio. So glad to have you here. It's Carm Capriato asking a tough question. Do you like change? Well, here's a quote from Seth Godin. Change almost never fails because it's too early. It almost always fails because it's too late. Something to ponder. This episode is a special treat. This was actually an impromptu session held at ATE in March 2018. It was so great to be in Seattle at this ASA Northwest event, and I'm thankful to the ACT Group for hosting me at ATE. And thanks to Federal Mogul Motor Parts for their support of Remarkable Results Radio. Now, when you need to search for parts, get the latest technical updates, or sign up for some Garage Rewards Loyalty Program swag for techs and shops, go to fmmotorparts.com. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know what topics you'd like featured, and if you were impacted by any one of the over 388 interviews and town halls in the library, reach me at carm@remarkableresults.biz. And thanks for listening on your favorite podcast listening app. Now, did you know that I have my own listening app? It's on the App Store or on Google Play. Search for Remarkable Results Radio and download. Within minutes, all the episodes will be at your fingertips. Yes, turn off the news and turn on Aftermarket Talk Radio. Hey, have you found Remarkable Results Radio on social media? Well, you can find all the links at remarkableresults.biz/social, and the network of connected listeners builds each and every week. I'm honored to have new Facebook friends Tommy Gaynor, Sean Frankie, Scott Busadam, Chris Monroe, and Cody Olszewski. And my latest LinkedIn connections, Melissa Gretschel, Bill Heckathorn, and Justin Brubaker. Welcome, everyone. Hey, FYI, the talking points and extended bios on my guests is on the show notes page, remarkableresults.biz/E327. Now, saddle up for some straight-up talk on the subject of change. While at ATE, I pulled Jeremy O'Neill, owner of Freedom Automotive and AdvisorFix, Barry Barrett from RLO Training, and Chris Cloutier from Golden Rule Automotive and AutoFlow into the ATE studio. I wanted to hear from them on the power of change. President John Kennedy said, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future." Now, I know you realize that our industry is in constant change, be it from the tech that we see every day that run our customers' vehicles, the training we need to have to stay current, new technology that integrates into our daily business processes, and the new and smart concepts of marketing. We're in a constant state of change. Now, I wanted to hear from these aftermarket professionals how they look at accepting change. You're going to hear something near to a collegiate oration. We cover two ways that leaders lead, the fear of change, and that we are willing to change as long as there isn't any pain. We get into communications, connecting that the winners and losers have one thing in common. They both hate doing the same thing every day, and winners do it anyway. Here's another great episode of Aftermarket Talk Radio that is building a movement within the industry. Turn your commute or your exercise routine or even your special personal networking time into powerful learning. Now enjoy this discussion and debate with Jeremy O'Neill, Barry Barrett, and Chris Cloutier. Are you ready to change? Hey, we're at the ATE, the ASA Northwest Automotive Training Expo. I'm on the top floor of the unbelievable DoubleTree looking out over the Seattle skyline. And I was down walking the show floor, and I bumped into three of my friends. And I'm not sure if you already had a beer on the show floor, but all I said is, hey, let's go up into the studio and just lay one down. And here you are. And thanks for bringing the beer again, Jeremy.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm with Jeremy O'Neill from AdvisorFix, Chris Cloutier from AutoFlow, and Barry Barrett from RLO Training. Oh, my. And if you're a follower of the podcast, you know these guys have really contributed in a very big way. I always want to thank you guys for all your help. You know, the world is changing big time. heavy. And a lot of people are afraid of change. And, we need to find and build and create change agents if we're going to live with technology and the rapid pace of change. Are you guys up to talking about change?
Absolutely. Let's talk about change. Rush said it best when they said, Tom Sawyer, changes aren't permanent. My changes. Down. Down with me, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You like that last?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that was great.
I had no idea I was going to get to hear him sing tonight.
That was a Bowie thing, wasn't it?
That's Rush.
Oh, that was Rush. I'm sorry. I thought you were.
I'm not very good at, obviously, Bowie or Rush.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, all right.
Hence why he's a shop owner.
Field musician that is now a shop owner and a software developer.
Creator
architect.
of awesomeness.
Yes. So,
yes, amazing stuff.
Let's talk about change.
Now, how they got three of us into the same room, I will never know. And, Barry and I, we love each other. We have this wonderful relationship where we constantly push each other. So for me, it's an honor to be here with you, Barry, and I love spending time with you, man.
Jeremy, it's absolutely an honor to be with you. And in the concept of change, one of my favorite quotes is Eric Hoffer. And it says, in times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, where the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists.
You're in the digital realm, Chris.
Yes.
And I'm out here saying that doing digital inspections is going to be as important as having a lift in your bay.
Agreed.
And if that's the case, so what's going on with the adoption rate? And is it I'm afraid to change, that I'm too comfortable in my skin?
I say as leaders, right, there's two ways that leaders lead. One is through pain and one is through vision, right? So are we into the pain stage yet? Or are we still in the vision stage? So as a leader, are you trying to sell vision, which is, hey, we need to do a digital inspection because they're cool, and that's what I think the next thing is, or are we in the pain stage because everybody else is doing digital inspections and now it's a requirement, right? You can't have a shop and not have a scanner in your base. You have to have some sort of tool to read the codes, right? If not, you're probably not doing a whole lot of work. But how long did it take for everybody to start buying scanners in the toolboxes to change, right? So I think right now, the pain of change isn't there yet, right? Once everybody's doing digital inspections, you're going to have to do digital inspections.
People are finally saying, well, 8 out of 10 have them. I think I better get on board. But right now, it's more like 2 out of 10.
It's 1 out of 10.
It's 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10, 2 out of 10. It's very low rate. Very low rate. And I think fear has a lot to do with that too, right? The fear of the unknown. What does it mean to me? What does it mean to my guys? What does it mean to my crew, right? I don't know the customer-facing piece, but then I'm scared if I go into this change, I might lead that ship into the shores, and then everybody's going to try and jump ship, right? I don't really know what that change means yet. But as other people adopt it, as you're crossing the chasm, have you ever read that book? Your early adopters, your early, your fringe, right? They're going to go out, they're going to do it, they're going to chart the waters, and then everybody else is going to start adopting those patterns.
What do you guys see it as trainers in this change chasm that Chris is talking about?
People don't want to change, I think, primarily because when you admit you don't know, right, you're all of a sudden saying, I'm getting ready to go from very competent at what I know to all of a sudden I'm going to be incompetent by definition. So I think that most people resist change because they're afraid of being incompetent again. Because no one needs
because I'm going into the fear of the unknown. I'm going to be very uncomfortable for a while.
I'm a very good end user. I sit next to Chris and I'm like, yeah, this guy's forgotten more about technology than I'm going to ever know. And I'm okay with that. But if I was going to try to change and say I wanted to go into that realm, all of a sudden I go from this very comfortable, like I know sales and I know how to train. And I would all of a sudden get burst into this new deal where I wouldn't know anything. And then all of a sudden I feel lost, and we do not want to feel lost. It scares us, right? The brain has two functions. It's either you survive or you thrive. Well, all of a sudden, I'm going from thrive mode to survive mode, and my brain is going to resist that.
So there's a comfort position, Jeremy, that I think people get into, and that's why I think they're fighting the business model changes, the move to DVI, the training that they know is so necessary for the survival of their business, and they're comfortable. And how do we get them out of their comfort zone?
That's the questions perplexed businesses forever. And I agree with Barry. I think you got to look deeper into human behavior. And Tony Robbins says it best. Human beings we act out of two things: to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. So the other thing to this is, okay, the transition from paper to digital, it can actually suck. I mean, let's face it, getting your shop completely paperless, going digital, it can be a challenge depending on the software you're using, the hardware, your network capabilities, all this stuff. You're going to have hiccups. There's going to be road bumps. So the first time your system encounters a problem, your technicians are going to throw it down and go back to what? Paper, what they know. The other thing I think that, and we're pushing this at our shop, is losing control of the sale. And what I mean by that is I'm trying to get my shop 100% digital. I love customers. I like to talk, but I've talked enough. And what I think we're moving in from a society is we're moving away from a sales society where salespeople sell things to a consumer-driven society that buys things that they want when they want it. And if I can position my shop to be the first shop to deliver a completely digital transaction, completely digital estimating process, where I don't have to employ a service advisor at my counter, that my system will do the work for me, guess what? I save on payroll, I deliver the transaction the customer wants. But most shop owners and most service writers right now are fearful of losing control of the sale.
We're here to talk about change. So what changed inside of you to say, this is important and I need to do it?
My 3 kids growing up.
I think it's a vision.
That's a great answer.
Right? He sees the vision. He sees the future, right? You bury your head in the sand, right? And you see the sand, or you look out in the horizon and you start seeing what's coming. I was at Seattle Airport today. I saw the McDonald's kiosks. I wanted to stand in line to use the McDonald's kiosk, although there were 3 people at the counter, right?
Wait a minute.
So that changes.
I've never heard that. Tell me about that. I mean,
you haven't seen it?
No.
No, they have these huge screens that you walk up to, push a button, and order what you want. You don't actually have to talk to anybody.
Yeah, that's change. That's McDonald's. That's awesome. That's vision.
All right.
That's
Well,
the future.
so would someone who would be afraid of change not want to walk up and do that?
They'd be going, hey, can I get a server to help me? And McDonald's is like,
that's a code breaker
I
right
agree.
there. Wait a minute. Think about it here. Is I walk up and I would have never suspected you to go up to the McDonald's kiosk and do this. Whoa, you are adopting change. You are getting warm with it.
So we should take all our texts to the McDonald's kiosks. And stand them in front of it so they can see that change is okay.
Well, yeah, the text too, but the leadership of many of our organizations that are afraid to make some big decisions coming up. You may have just broken the code. What are you doing as an individual that you're accepting change, but you won't bring it to your business? You won't bring it up to the scale that you want to do it.
Well, and Carm, there's financial ramifications with change. When I send out a completely digital sales transaction and I'm not there to save the sale, and the customer declines a brake fluid exchange and the spark plugs and the timing belt and the struts, and they only want to do their concern, a skilled service advisor like Barry, he could close 100% of that sale all day long. He knows how to deal with objections. He's very skilled at what he does. He can take a customer and walk them through a sale, take them from a complete no, move them into a yes. But I believe consumers don't even want that transaction anymore. Where they're going is they want to control everything from their cell phones, the way that we buy things.
Let me ask you
and
this,
it's moving
Jeremy.
that way.
Like, I agree with you. I think that's the way things are going. I mean, I go to Chick-fil-A. I don't even take the move that Chris was talking about, like going up to the thing and putting it in. I get out this new thing called an iPhone, and it has these apps, and I get out that, and I go to the Chick-fil-A app, and I order my food there. And you know what's really cool? Like, I order literally the same thing almost every time, and I just hit reorder. They order it. I get there. I'm like, I'm here. I go in. They're like, Mr. Barrett. And I'm like, sweet. See you later. Boom. I'm out. It doesn't happen. To Jeremy's point, though, and the problem I'm having here and seeing, and maybe Jeremy can help me because he's really good at this. How do you deliver the value, the features and the benefits so that they understand what they're buying? Because we've got this idea, like I call it the curse of knowledge, but also the opposite is true. The curse of knowledge is when you know so much that it's hard for you to explain. But here's the thing. We know so much about these repairs. So when a customer that's in their hand, and this isn't a cheeseburger, this is a complex piece of equipment that they don't understand at a level even 2. So we need to be able to portray our level 10 knowledge into a 2. How do we do that with digital inspections?
But I think that's where online reviews come in and your reputation online, right? Jeremy's great with his shop, Yelp, right? How many people come through your door and just trust you out of the gate because of his reviews, right? So your level of service, your time to delivery, all the things are still going to be reflected online, right? So I don't have to interact with you. I just have to see your reputation and trust what other people are saying. I don't believe I have to talk to you.
And I think it goes
like
deeper than
Amazon,
that.
right? Have I talked to anybody at Amazon ever? I've talked to one person on a return, right? But why do I use Amazon? Because everybody says Amazon's great. Everybody says Amazon's quick. Everybody says Amazon gets you good product. So they're going to say the same thing about your shop. Golden Rule is awesome. It's quick. They do a good job. I don't ever have to talk to anybody. I like that.
Well, and I think, and Barry, I agree with you. I think losing control of the sale is very fearful. And you've heard this as well. You've listened to hundreds of calls, thousands of calls, and you get a service advisor that doesn't have the technical knowledge to explain the features and benefits right.
And they'll talk themselves out of a sale.
There are service advisors on this planet still that don't even understand what a feature and a benefit is. You ask them what it is, and they'll tell you what the benefit is when they're describing the feature, and they'll tell you what the benefit is.
Today.
Right? Absolutely.
And I asked somebody what the benefit is, and they told me all about the feature, and I'm like, well, you're missing the benefit. And we literally went down around 3 times, 3 different service advisors, same class, and they're good service advisors. But I'm like, no, benefit. But good point. Yeah.
Right. And so my point is this. It's not about what I want as a shop owner. It's not about what, whatever knowledge I have technically. I can explain, the most complex repair to a customer. But what I believe is this, and this has cost me clients. I have people come up at trade shows and say, why do you want to get rid of the service advisor? I'm like, dude, the name of my company is AdvisorFix. I don't want to get rid of service advisors. If I do, I'm out of business, right? That would be stupid. But I believe it's deeper. It's what do consumers want? If you follow the trends, if I can be the first to market to deliver this completely transparent, buyer-driven product to my client that does it 24/7, okay? Most shops right now, if they get a lead, which right now it's Friday night, most people are searching for auto repair right now than they do Monday morning. I guarantee you, 95% of shops out there do not handle the digital lead properly right now. They're going to go to some website that some company has built for them. The lead form is going to say, please put down your 2 requested times that you'd like, and a member of our staff will get back to you. That is not what consumers want today. I don't want to wait till Monday morning to find out if I can come in Monday morning. I want instant on-demand access to your workflow, into your system, and I want to drive the transaction as a consumer.
Are we there yet, Chris?
I
With the
think we're-
technology?
yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
The technology is there
it's
to
there.
book a live, available appointment.
Yeah, but are the shops willing to be open, right? What's the capacity of the shop? That's
And
the other thing
that
we
goes
were talking
back to
about,
the
right?
fear of change, because I don't want anyone controlling me, and I want to be in a comfort zone.
Dude, give me 100 cars today. I'll figure out how to get them fixed. Bring them to my shop right now.
No, I don't disagree, right? Why does the shop have to be open 8 to 5, right? Or 9 to 7 or 9 to 6, right? There's shops open 24 hours. Now, you have to ask me as a shop owner, and if I were to go to my guys and ask them to work 24 hours a day, they'd say no. But will it get to that? Will it come to, what is it? Everything's on demand, right? Everything is service on demand, transportation on demand.
Everything.
Food on demand. So we're a service industry. We'll get to that point. Will we have to have a guy sitting at home who's contracting, who we say, no, your technician doesn't come in his shop anymore? We'll just have you come when
No,
we
we're
need
going to
you
come and get your car. Don't worry about it. You just keep running your comfortable life, and we're going to do all the work.
Right. But you're still going to have work
And
off hours, right?
I want to go back and address Barry's comment because it's very insightful. So you called it what, level 10 knowledge?
Yeah, level 10 knowledge.
And then, but you've got to be able to speak it at level 2 for your.
Yeah, because
for
that's
your
where customers buy. We think they buy at a 5, but they don't even understand that. So they have to understand it at 2 or lower to buy.
Yes. So what I love, like Chris's product, AutoFlow, absolutely beautiful. It's a digital product that I can give to my client that does that for me. They're in control of it. Anytime you give control of the buying process to a consumer, they are going to buy more than if they feel like they're being sold. The second that the sales radar goes up, clients shut down. That's where you get the smoke screen objections. Hey, Carm, I got to talk to the wife about it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Jeremy, it's kind of funny. I didn't even know you were married. Yeah, I just got married last night.
That's good.
I'll get back to you tomorrow.
That's good. So let me ask you this, and look, I love where you guys are going, and just as a person who is interested, because Chris was talking about that a while ago, and I was like, wow, he just framed this up, because Chris just sits around, and his job is to think up stuff, because this is what he does.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
I just think up stuff.
You just sit around all day?
Just sit around and think up stuff all day.
I like it.
That's fantastic. I like that job.
What I mean is,
I want that
I
job.
won't
he
go
lives, he lives in the digital world, and he sits around, and his job is to think out ideas about the digital world and how to overcome issues. Am I wrong?
Is that why you guys have hair and I don't have hair?
Yes.
Because my brain smokes all the time? Is that what's happening here?
Because you're brilliant at what you do, and I have a lot of respect for you. So what you've learned in sales and the way that you teach it, the way you deliver it, service advisors need that. it's not going away. Yes, I'm one of the front runners that's pushing technology at it. That's why I bought a shop. Okay, my money's on the line every single day. My wife goes, "Can I see the P&L?" I'm like, maybe next month, But we're there. We're gaining traction. I get people all the time. Oh, you do Yelp? Oh my gosh, Yelp brings us so much money every single month. But it's interesting to me, like when you talk about change, why do we put these walls up and we'll label something and it won't work in my shop, doesn't work in my town? And we hear this all the time. I live in a rural area. Okay.
We all think we're special somehow, right? And I love my kids. They're special. I got a 13-year-old boy, 9-year-old girl, and I'm like, oh, yeah, they're special. They're the only ones that. The truth is, like, there's a million kids just like them out there all over the world, right? We want to think of ourselves as special. Well, that won't work for me. Well, 2 reasons. 1, we think we're special. 2, deep down, we really know that we're not, and we're so scared that we'll fail at that new endeavor. And so you have those 2 things playing. And when we understand what the change is, we want to understand everything about it. And I like to use the analogy of, well, you learned how to drive one day, right? So the first time you learned how to drive, Chris, be honest, like you put it in gear, you like made sure the brake pedal was pushed in like all the way. You kind of looked at the thing and
I knocked off the rear view mirror or side view mirror
right.
the first time I drove.
But you had to sit there and think about every move to back your car out of your driveway. Now you're like throwing on the radio, you bust it, you barely look. What if there's kids back there? I got the whatever. So, but we want to get there without going through the pains. And, a lot of times I'll ask these questions not because I don't want to get there, because I'm so interested in what they are. And I want to go back to the point where I had a while ago, and I was going to ask a question. So in my mind, there's 3 pricing models, okay? There's the low price. There's where you got Amazon and Walmart. Like, they're competing at that level. You're not going to be able to compete with that. The second pricing model is something like Android or Apple, where they have really one of the best products. Nobody has the best product because it's so subjective, but they have a really great product for a good price, like a higher price. And then the third pricing model is the one I prefer to live at, where I have one of the best products. It doesn't even maybe Apple or Android, but literally it is the highest and best pricing model because it's based on a relationship. You will always get paid more for that model than the other 2. So my question to you 2 guys is, what happens to the relationship model? And when we do truly as humans want connection, and so how do we find connection with the model that we're going toward that's inevitably going to happen?
I don't know, because you can talk about connection 2 different ways. I connect with Jeremy almost on a daily basis, right? With text messages. Am I still connecting with him? Right?
Absolutely.
Am I still communicating with him? Right? So I'm still communicating, right? You send a letter. Is that, before there were phones, we would send letters. Is that still communication?
Yes.
Right? Long distance communication, right? So it's just a different type of communication, right? You're using a different vessel of communication. So I don't know that you lose the personal touch. I think you define personal touch as us being face-to-face.
Right. And I agree 120% what you're saying. The only thing is like our relationship with texting and writing letters is usually predicated on us meeting face-to-face initially.
I will agree with that, but
sense?
I'm going to go back to what we were talking about with Yelp. Right? How many people come through my shop because they read Yelp and Google comments about people they don't even know, and they're going to come in and they're going to give me money right there?
Yeah, and I'm not fighting you guys. I'm asking questions.
Those are good questions.
We have to be able to
I agree.
these.
The world's evolving. Okay,
Yeah.
73% of people that receive a text message consider you in their inner circle. Okay.
Nice.
So when I text you, I get into your inner circle. Boom. Chris is in my relationships closer than almost any other person in my life. Like, I'd say top 10 easily, but we communicate at an on-needed as-is basis. He knows not to call me. I know not to call him. Hey, dude, what's up? Oh, rockin', call you later, talk to you later, whatever. See you at Seattle. So I think that's it. But what I think is evolving, and Simon Cowell said this so well. He was interviewed by Dan Rather. And Dan said, Simon, you just had your kid. He's a year old. What's the one thing you want to teach him? Simon goes, I want to teach him to talk. And I was like walking by the TV and I'm like, oh, wow. Wait, that was like a profound moment in human history. Why would Simon Cowell say he's going to teach his child to talk? And I'm like, almost every child learns how to talk at some point in their life, right? And so he goes on to say that the art of conversing face to face is going to become a dying art, and we are already seeing that. It is. So, like, and I agree. I think one thing that we have to do, and I'm so like on the side of digital communication, you guys are probably thinking I'm a freak, which is totally cool. So if you want to get like freaky with digital, call Jeremy. In our coaching, we teach you have to deliver the transaction the way the client wants it.
I agree.
Okay, there's 4 ways
agree.
to deliver a transaction. I text it to you, I email it to you, we do an in-person sales presentation, or we do it over the phone. Which one do you prefer today? So everything I craft is going to be delivered in the method and the manner of which each client wants, how they want it today.
And I'm going to go back to fear, right? I remember my parents, when I was listening to rock and roll music, and I had long hair, believe it or not. But I remember they said your rock and roll music and your life's not, this is scary. And the way you're being raised with all these toys and what's going on is going to change your life, right? What's different? We're looking at the earlier generations and we're saying the same thing that my parents said about my generation. So I agree. Are we talking fear right now because we're scared? The evolution is going to happen. I totally agree with Jeremy. Why don't we embrace the evolution? Why don't we look? I don't say it's fear. That's one way you can change. The other one is vision. Let's envision the future. And let's change because it's going to be a good thing. I'm looking forward to driverless cars. I'm not a good driver. And nobody in this room is a good driver, although everybody in this room says they're probably the best driver in here. But I guarantee I've flicked off and I've honked at every one of you people, right?
That's right.
But I want a driverless car.
You do know that, like, if you get people in a room and you ask the room 100 people, like, are you better than
Everybody
average
says they're the best
Everybody
driver in the
says
room.
they are. Right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I believe that, too. And what I'm trying to do, I really like to hash out questions because I think objection overcoming is an art. We all know that. So I have to ask the tough questions because I believe everything that you guys are saying about digital inspections, because I asked the question today in my class. I said, let me be honest, like, by show of hands, who in here gets upset, like really upset, when someone calls them on their cell phone? And 75% of the class raised their hand, including me. And I said, listen, you know, how many of you over 40, raise your hand, I'll keep mine up. When text messages first came out, we're like, why would I text somebody when I can call them? And I kept my hands up because I was one of those guys. And I go, it's really disheartening, like the amount of 40-year-olds in here that sent a poop emoji yesterday. And you said you weren't even going to text, right? And so the idea, it's coming. I'm just trying to figure out, everybody communicates, but very, very few people connect.
Get through. Yeah.
How do you connect that way?
And it goes back to the relationship model that I think you're talking about. It's about having a relationship. And having a relationship, guys, is not husband and wife sitting at dinner texting each other, you know, about stuff for their day or the kids in the family. It's almost like you could put a lead wall up between them because there's no connectivity going on there.
Right. But you know who they're connecting with? Whoever, the person on the other line that they want. I know that's sad and it sounds crass, but that was going on a long time ago, because I would walk into a restaurant before cell phones and they weren't connecting with anyone else. They were just sitting across from each other and not saying each other. I listened to Gary Vaynerchuk a lot and I heard him say that, so I'll just give him credit. He said, technology, and I believe this, technology doesn't make you a worse person. He said, it exposes you. Those people are just exposed now. They weren't talking before.
Got it.
But when they're texting, they get, like, Jeremy's like, top 10 people. How close do you guys live apart?
Several states apart.
Technology puts it together, and I believe wholeheartedly in it, and we have to embrace it.
You bring up that there's less connectivity when you're communicating via phone, right? Because we're not having face-to-face. I don't know that that's true. I don't know that when our children grow up and they're communicating, although we think it's sad, they're communicating via this.
I don't think it's sad.
That's how they feel that they're connecting. It's not the way we connect, but it's the way they connect, right?
It's their preferred method of communications.
Right.
And that was a very profound, I'll tell you a really quick story. When I finally bought a new cell phone for my wife, that it wasn't one of those, 9 pads that she could really text. Then my daughter was, I think, in her senior year of college. They both loved the Sabres, and I said to the wife, I says, type in "score" and send it to Tracy, and Tracy sent it back, and it really blossomed their connectivity while they were so far apart, and it was a great story of looking to think, how can I tighten that circle as much as there's technology and maybe that void of personal one-on-one touches. But I love the concept of bringing worlds closer together with technology, and I think texting has made a big impact on that. I mean, friends from all over the world, we can check up with them. Would we normally have called them in the past? Maybe not. But today, that really quick text, I think, has a lot of impact. And that's where what you're doing in your company, I mean, let's go back to what you founded and why it's so powerful, and why all the DVI programs are reaching out in the preferred method, right? You said that. Absolutely. Tell me the preferred method you want me to have a relationship with you at. We started out talking about change and change agents, and then I wrote these down because I really want to kind of get back to it, because at the end of this show, I want somebody to walk away and say, I heard some great banter. These guys truly, respect each other. It was a lively debate. I loved it, but I didn't learn what I should learn to overcome. I'm afraid of failing, and there's things I don't want to pick and adopt and move and do. I maybe, as a person who is afraid of that, never learned how to fail forward and to learn from my mistakes. And I just interviewed a great Canadian contingent in here a little while ago, and as we were walking out to the elevator, we were talking about analysis paralysis, which almost, Chris, could get someone in the way of really making any decision on moving their business forward, because they want to be so right and so perfect and so knowledgeable before they flip that switch. And these guys said, we learned a long time ago, Carm, get 75% of the information you want and do it. And that 25% will be your learning curve to either make it better or learn from that mistake. Don't be afraid of failing, and bring that 25% is your intuition, is your gut.
Analysis paralysis, whack-a-mole, you get too much information, you get information overload.
So let's talk about the fear of failing or failing forward.
I want to say, right, instead of looking at the fear of failure, look at it as vision. What's the vision that you have, right? It's just a different spin on it.
Got it.
Right?
Let's do that.
Once again, leadership either comes from pain or comes from the vision of change. I would say as shop owners, we need to look at the vision of the future, right? And not be afraid and say, this is what we know we need to embrace, right? This vision.
I'm talking with Anthony Frowine, a technical product specialist with Federal Mogul Motor Parts. Anthony, when you're in a shop, are you talking tech as well as product?
Whenever I do a physical training, there is product incorporated part of the whole training overall, but it's to maximize the time, whether it's diagnostics, whether it's inspection, whether it's installation. So that way they understand that, hey, by skipping that extra 20 seconds by putting on this set of brake pads and not replacing the hardware, hey, this might be the reason why that I'm getting comebacks. And usually, being a ex-shop owner, I understand that the first time you get paid, the second time's free.
And so are the techs really starving for this information?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of times you have, we live in an industry where I like to say they cut the roast in half and they don't understand why, but they do it just because they've always been doing that type of an industry. So, to break it through that, they've been doing something for 30 years and they see as they haven't been doing anything wrong, but it starts to open up their eyes to, hey, you know what? It wasn't necessarily wrong, but there is a better way.
So you're really talking to me about an aha moment.
Exactly.
And tell me, when you see that happening more and more from technicians that you're out with, how does it make you feel?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, you really feel like you're giving back to the community overall. But ultimately, the way I tell them, I look at every single vehicle that I worked on prior to, or I had my customer, just like I'd put my family in that vehicle. I look at it as I'm keeping everybody else that much safer because the job's getting done correctly.
Federal Mogul Motor Parts' Garage Gurus is your go-to source for the vehicle training, technology, and answers you need to keep your next job on track. On-site, online, or on demand, the Gurus are here to help keep your business and your career on the road to success. Visit fmgarageguru.com. So here, let me go against you and say, I'm a 50-year-old shop owner, and I'm kind of set in my ways, and I'm okay, and I know I could be making some more money, but things are okay.
Sell your business now.
So let's look at Toys R Us, right? I mean, wow, how does that company go under, right? A lot of mismanagement, a lot of bad.
They weren't paying
They didn't want to
attention.
change.
They weren't paying attention.
Look at the
That's
record
right.
company. Look at Sears. Look at all the different places that have gone by the wayside because they said we're not going to have vision. I appreciate Walmart for the fact that they are actually trying to tackle the online future that Amazon has created. They're not going to go down. They're not going to go away easy.
They know that they're number 2 right now, and if they don't change, they're
going to go
extinct.
away.
Now,
Absolutely.
Let's go back to relationship. Okay, our family has shifted more of our household spending to Amazon, and we have no relationship with that company at all. We don't know one employee that works there. So where consumers are going is IWW, IWW, IWI. I want what I want when I want it. Now, I do agree relationship's important, and I got to be careful not to paint myself in that corner. But I also believe that just watch what happens. Watch what unfolds and watch how consumer spending changes. Okay? We can't get away from it.
The number one reason, literally, if you look at it, the number one reason people don't change is something called loss aversion. So loss aversion is when you protect what you have so much, even when you know it's costing you money, because you protect it because it's yours. And if you look at the studies, loss aversion, the fear of losing something, is the most powerful thing when it comes to making change. And so how do you get over the fear of losing what you have? You really have to have an abundance mindset. So many people have a protectionist mindset. So when you protect, you really are just fortifying, and you wrap your arms around everything and nothing gets out. Well, if nothing's getting out, nothing's getting in. So the only thing you have a closed mind. So what I tell people is I have an abundance mindset. Everybody thinks they have some proprietary information. And I'm like, listen, I got bad news for you, fellas. We all teach about 95% the same material. Anybody disagree in this room?
I
Jeremy?
disagree. No,
I'm just talking
I disagree
about
because there are trainers up here that are in front of the room that shouldn't be in front of the room.
I agree.
There are trainers in this industry that haven't ran a
100%
shop
agree.
in 30 years. There are guys in this industry that are there are major companies
that haven't changed their perspective.
That haven't changed.
I agree. Haven't changed in 30 years.
When I say the same thing, like it's the same processes.
Okay, you just broke the code because I was about ready to say this. Vision, right? Vision. Vision's a soft skill. And for a lot of people, they can't grab it. And they don't understand.
Soft? Wait a minute.
Why is it soft? Yes. Because people have not learned how to touch it and how to embrace it and how to do things with it.
It's not a soft skill. It comes from your core values. Your core values are not a soft skill. Your core values are hard. Like you just have to sit down and say, what am I about?
I stand corrected, but what I guess my point was, Barry, thank you for putting me
I agree
online.
with you, Carm.
Are you feeling what?
Why do you agree
Wait a minute.
with
I've got to have.
Vision is something that can be exercised or not. Vision is not a hard skill. It's something that you either turn on or you turn off.
All right, there it is. That's the word.
Okay.
It's abstract, and
So
you
they say
can't.
abstract, soft, because a hard skill would be.
I guess that is right. Maybe I misspoke.
No, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's abstract, and as a 50-year-old shop owner, the point I was trying to make, I can't grab this. I'm supposed to be this visionary and adapt all this stuff, and I just think I can't get out of my own way.
Let's. What's the difference between a visionary and an implementer? Like, and not everybody's a visionary. I'd say only 50% of companies have a visionary.
I think you're right. I think visionary scares the daylights out of a lot of people. What, you want me to become Steve Jobs in the auto repair industry? I can't be Greg Buckley.
You don't have to be a visionary. You have to hire a visionary.
Now we're talking about Steve Jobs' visionary. I'm not. I'm saying the guy who's coming to this conference and he walks by all those digital inspection booths and says, "I don't need it." That's not much to see that vision to say, well, every time I pick up Ratchet and Wrench or I pick up some magazine that I'm reading more and more about digital communication, I'm reading more. So I should probably be stopping at these booths I'm not talking the kind of vision that Steve Jobs has. I'm talking about, let's just look 5 years ahead.
Yeah, and it's not just about DVI or digital vehicle inspection. It's a new way to communicate with your clients. So when I'm not at the shop and the phone's ringing off the hook and my assistant says, "Hey, I couldn't do that because I got busy." Chris, you say this. Busy is a 4-letter word that we should never use as entrepreneurs. I get it, dude. Changed my life. So what I say to Alicia is, I understand the phone was ringing. Were you using your lead sheet? No, we got busy. Okay, so here's what happened. You took the average incoming call from 90 seconds of when you should have converted it. You're on the phone for 6 to 8 minutes, and you made promises to call these customers back with quotes that you should have never made the promise to call them back with a quote, because you could have closed it in the 90 seconds that I've taught you. So if you follow our system and our process, it would have worked. So what we're talking about is a brand new way to communicate with customers that gets the results that we're after. And when you talked about the 3 different pricing levels, right? So I'll go back to it. Okay, low, Android, best products. You know what's missing from that? Margin. If I can create a business that will deliver a higher margin at the lowest price, I better do it. So price is one component, but what about the margin? We fail to talk about the gross margin or the net profitability of the business. If I can create a shop in my area that is the lowest price, and everyone's going to say, Jeremy, you have the cheapest shop. No, I'm the smartest shop. I can deliver the lowest price with the highest margin and the best value for my clients. I should do that. And we fail to go to those levels with it.
I agree.
We're talking about DVI and sales training here, and there's so much more than just that. I know you guys are kind of focused and zoned in, but for this 50-year-old shop owner that is having a problem with vision and adapting and walking by all these booths here at ATE and seeing the things that they maybe should be doing, what's going to change our independent world's leadership to appreciate he needs to be a better CEO, he needs to be a better marketer, he needs to understand his numbers and his P&L. What's standing in the way? What's the fear of taking that next step, the big step, the march?
It's more difficult to get somebody to move from a negative mindset to a positive mindset than it is to take a negative and make something more fearful that if they don't change, they're going to experience major fear, right? I mean, is that true? Like, it's like, I hate saying it out loud because I'm so positive that, when my shoes wear out, I'm simply back on my feet. But if you take, and I tell people, I say, hey, I'm going to tell you this, in 10 years, half of independent automotive businesses are going to be out of business. So let me ask you, do you want to be one of the 50% that are out of business or in business? Because if you don't change, you are going to find yourself on the wrong side of the 50%.
So how many people that are listening to us right now don't want to take the tough battle?
That don't want to?
50%. Is that what you're telling me?
95% of people don't want to take the tough battle. Some 50% of people will, even though they don't want to. Because none of us want to get up and go to the gym and do push-ups.
Well, I do. But
Chris does. Look how buff he is.
Well, it feels good when you're done.
It does feel good
when you're done, but when you get out of the bed and it's 20 below, none of us want to get out and do that. Winners and losers have one thing in common. They both hate doing the same thing every day. The difference is that winners do it anyway.
I want to bring up, y'all remember the movie What About Bob?
Yes.
Baby steps to the
Absolutely.
car. Baby steps to the, everything was baby steps. It's how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So it just has to be, you start one thing,
so,
and then another thing, and then another thing.
Crawl,
incrementalism.
Incremental.
Crawl, walk, run. Maybe maybe we just broke the code. Crawl, walk, run.
There's incrementalism and there's essentialism. And so incrementalism is what Chris just said. He just said you do the little bitty steps every day. You crawl, walk, and run. Essentialism is only doing the things that you're supposed to do. Personally, I only teach and sell. I have other people who do those other things for me. I'm not writing reports for you. It's not worth my time. So incrementalism as a shop owner, and then essentialism. The problem with most shop owners is they love being a tech, and when they get frustrated with marketing and they don't want to deal with that anymore, and they get frustrated with the front counter and they don't want to deal with that anymore, they go out back and they work on a car. That's not your essential job anymore. Let it go.
The first question I have is for shop owners out there, and I agree. I mean, Barry, great way to wrap that up. It's funny. You're like, we go work on a car. I'm like, well, yeah, it feels good to turn a wrench. So there's like the stress relief for that, but do that on the time that you want to. So the question I have is, what would happen if your shop converted every lead that your shop got every day? All of them. 100% of the leads. Could you handle the work? Most shops couldn't. Most shops don't even know their lead conversion rate. let alone if they converted 100%. So there's plenty of opportunity. Do you guys agree with me on that?
I don't even think most shops know what lead conversion is, right?
They would look like you had two heads, right?
I don't know what the understanding of a lead, right?
Right, so
it's
so
a
you
customer.
don't.
I don't think they talk in terms of sales.
You
right?
don't need a better website. You don't need another direct mail program. You don't need, this need. What do I need? What's the next thing? Okay, everything you need is within you. You just need to bring it out. Yeah. Now, the next thing is Richard Branson talks about this. He says to really learn. He says pretend that you landed on a brand new planet and you know nothing about their culture, nothing about their economy. You know nothing, and you have somebody who's going to help you. What type of mindset would you go in with that person? Would you say, well, back on Earth, we do it this way? Or would you say, yeah, I really don't know anything. Teach me how I make it here. So when you go to a trade show, when you go to anywhere new, what if you took all this I know and you just set it outside the door and you walked in with, I don't know anything, teach me. And you went in with an open mind and you filled your mind with new ideas. And then you took what you liked after you learned and went and put it into place on Monday morning and then tracked the results and saw what happened.
So there's a story I think we wanted to tell. Someone wanted to tell a story about when Barry and Jeremy first met.
Oh, Barry and Jeremy. Yeah. Vision. What was that, 2 years ago?
We can thank Sherry Hamilton for this one, right?
2 years ago. Yeah. So all I wanted to do was sit around the table, Carm. All I wanted to do was sit around. It was after the show, a lot of training. Actually, I think I'd seen both of them in training classes. Two great guys, two great minds, two different classes, right? Just hanging out with a couple shop owners. Jeremy's sitting I think to the left of me, right? I think I had my guitar, strumming a little guitar, just hanging out, good times. Go up to the bar to get a drink with Jeremy, and Sherry introduces Barry to Jeremy, and they're cordial. They shake hands, and they're friendly. I think I went to the bathroom. Next thing I know, I come back to the table, and cat fight.
It was not a cat fight.
Boy.
It was at least a dog fight.
I would say, yeah.
I'm saying it's more like a cat fight.
More of a lion fight.
Yeah, there we go. I'm down.
You know
with
what I'm talking
that one.
about?
Yes, absolutely.
Right, lion fight. These guys, well, somebody had, I guess, peed on somebody else's fire hydrant, it felt like, right? Would that be the proper term?
Well, I know my version of what happened.
Total, like, here's my territory. Why are you coming in my territory type. It was like almost gang related. I thought we were going to break out with like knives and dance and stuff like that.
Did the D-man win here or what?
No. So Chris, thank you, because you talked a lot of sense into my stupid brain that night. And totally my fault. So Sherry Hamilton introduces us at the bar, and Barry and I look at each other. Hey, it's Barry Barrett. I said, Jeremy, you're with RLO. It's like, I said, I just want you to know that my mission in life is to put you and Dan out of business. It's nice to meet you.
No,
that's how we started.
No,
No. This is better. Go ahead.
All right,
this is great.
You ain't good enough.
Oh,
and it was on.
And it was on, huh?
After that,
it was on.
So that's not when it started. But so then we go down and have some drinks, and we're just chatting, and then just the different philosophical styles of training came out, and it just got to the point.
It got ugly. It got ugly. It did.
Yeah, we were.
Okay, all right.
Chris he has a second career. Well, he's got like 18 businesses, but his 19th business will be mediator.
Like, I mediated. I did. I got them almost to shake hands, and then the next morning for breakfast,
we sat together.
Yeah, I had Jeremy to the right of me, and I had Barry to the left.
It was
and
we were ready to start throwing down. Like it was.
I was upset. I was upset.
And so today,
I'm a Kentucky, country boy, and we get upset.
Yep.
Carm, I'm a lover, not a fighter. These guys apparently are fighters.
You had two guys who were not.
Hey guys, this brings me all kinds of closure to something. And I think it was last year at Vision, and I can't remember. Barry, you were there. I met your wife, and I think you said to Jeremy or someplace, "Hey, can I sit in your class?" Or you said one of the other.
Jeremy's class.
You sat in Jeremy's class. I did not know the story. That you come a long way.
Oh, yeah. They've come a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they shake hands now.
Well, mutual respect.
Hey, they take selfies together now.
I know,
right?
And they're sitting but they're sitting at the opposite sides of my table here.
I would sit next to him. I'd work. I would do
as long as you're in between them, Carm. They'd be fine.
The truth is, like, we are pretty like the similar personalities, and you get two personalities like that. We're very. I mean, I don't know. It's very direct. We say he was crazy enough to say that, like, I'm not going to back down. I'll stay back too. I'm witty too. It's good stuff. But it's just like when you're a kid, you have this fight and then you become friends.
Change right there. Change. Two guys that basically said they're going to crush each other, and now they're almost besties.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's right. Almost.
Almost.
I'll help you. I'll work on that with you. All right. I'll work on that. Hey, what I want to bring to a conclusion, and I also want to tell our listeners that we have had an audience here with us.
Yes.
And they actually watched as you guys were running out of beers, and they kept opening them for you and bring them here. So, but I think you did really well, even though you may have been under slight influence.
Carm, I didn't drink a drop.
I know. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to.
My southern roots,
Yeah, I wanted to mention that. Good. There's more for the rest of us.
Exactly.
Like I said, if you want to get freaky with digital, get with Jeremy. It's all good.
AdvisorFix.
Yeah, wow. Imagine that. Freaky with digital. Man, that's got to be...
T-shirts coming out.
Hey, put that on the business card. I dare you.
Dude, that point about the reviews and how that... I'm like, that's good, man. I appreciate you saying that. That's good. Because I was trying to, like, not devil's advocates. I'm like, okay, in the future, I want to help people change. So I'm going to ask these guys, like, what do you think about this? Because I think one of the things that I have the ability to do is take the other person's perspective and say, what are they feeling, thinking? What do they know? And then say, how do I, Machiavelli that, right? And reverse engineer it and ask that question so they can give me better answers, because I know those questions are coming in my class, and I better arm myself with the correct responses and questions.
I'll tell you this, I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's just the way it is right now, right?
Yeah.
I just look at what works.
Yeah.
If it gets results at the
it'll
counter,
change.
I'm
I guarantee in 3 years from now, it'll change again. Just as soon as you learn Facebook, guess what?
They change it.
It's on to Instagram now, right? It's going to change. The landscape's going to change constantly, faster.
Twitter just announced a huge change. I mean, everybody's...
Right.
Twitter has to, because they're a news feed, and they became this crazy, like negative platform where everybody yells at each other.
Thank you to Chris Cloutier from AutoFlow and Golden
Rule Auto Care.
Golden Rule Auto Care. Now, I should have known that, but it's late. I'm on East Coast time still. Barry Barrett, Director of Training at RLO, and Jeremy O'Neill from AdvisorFix and Freedom Automotive. This was a blast, guys.
Awesome.
The best things are impromptu, and and when you bring a cooler like you brought. Wow. Hey, guys, thanks a mil.
Thanks, Carm.
Thanks, Carm.
Okay, guys, thanks for the fun, passion, education, and to hear your views on change. We need to best understand how to embrace change, because that's the only constant in life. Find the talking points and extended bios on Jeremy O'Neill, Barry Barrett, and Chris Cloutier at remarkableresults.biz/E327. Helen Keller said, "A bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn." I encourage you to keep turning and get through each new change chapter in your life and your business. Stretching beyond your comfort zone makes us all better leaders and change agents. Hey, need to get in touch with me? Carm at remarkableresults.biz, or head over to the contact page on the website. Hey, we'll talk soon, and thanks for your support of the Aftermarket's premier talk radio.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.